From a member of our community, courage is noble. It is often so hard, but remembering that courage is for others, that courage warms the world with love, makes it a bit easier to take that first step, to take that first breath, and to believe, I can do this.
And from another book, that is not on. And from another member of our community, courage is holding space for all parts of yourself and being able to love them when the world around you doesn't.
With courage. Good morning.
Good morning.
And welcome to First Parish Church of Groton. I'm Jackie Fry, and my pronouns are she, her, and I'm a member of your board of trustees. We are a community seeking to deepen spiritually, to take care of one another, and to be a blessing to the world. Unitarian Universalism is a faith for all, so bring all of who you are, all of your beliefs, identities, abilities, challenges, and gifts. Bring all of what you've been and all of what you've done. There is room for all of it here. Our congregation includes a wide diversity of beliefs. I invite you to freely translate the language you hear today. If you're visiting for the first time today, whether here in person or online, we're really glad you're here. If you would like more information, email us at welcome@uugroton.org. We are not concerned about kid noise and hope you won't be either. However, the service is broadcast several places downstairs if you need a break. There are pew couches as well with quiet toys. And there are 2 nurseries with toys as well through the door by the high pulpit. For RE today, it has been canceled due to the norovirus that's going through the local community. But we will have arts and crafts for kids downstairs, so I'll be there as well as Amy. Awesome. So. There is a small section in the back left there toward the parking lot side for those who prefer to sit with other masked people. Please know that we have a very effective air filtration system running, so you are safe wherever you are. We are once again hosting virtual church gatherings on Zoom every Sunday at 7 p.m. All are welcome. And if you need the link, you just email us at welcome@uugroton.org. Special thanks to Bob Flush this morning, who's filming, and to Jan Haddon, who's our cantor. Donna Nowak and Karen, is it Radu? Not sure how to say your last name, are ushering today. So if you need a large print hymnal or assisted listening device, they can help you. And then just a few announcements. So please join us for the Black Lives Matter Vigil today and every Sunday at 11:30 on Main Street in front of the church. Coffee hour is back. And all are welcome to come to the vestry, the big room below us, after the service. The ministers will be there. And thank you to the welcoming committee for making this happen, and please support them with offers to help. We urgently do need people to greet and usher on Sunday morning. So if you are available, either email worship@uugroton.org or visit the sign-up link in the weekly email. It is easy, it's fun, and we can't do church without you. If you have a joy or a sorrow or a prayer that you would like to have included in the minister's daily prayers, you can email it to prayers@uugroton.org or fill out a prayer card that are in your pews. We have learned through the pandemic that our sanctuary is not this room or any place at all. Sanctuary is what we create together. Please come in and rest for a while. You are so welcome here. Please take a second to wave to the camera, to say hi to the virtual congregation. And if you'd rather not shake hands, you can bow, wave, or greet. But let's stand as we're able and take a moment to greet each other.
Hello, good morning. Glad you're here.
Jan will lead us in singing, and the words are in your order of service on the first page. Yes.
This is where
practice of sounding 3 bells at the start of our service to invite us to settle into our bodies more fully, to remind us that we are whole and we belong wholly upon this earth, and we are held in the love which holds all in tenderness. So with each bell, I invite you to breathe in and out. In addition or instead, you might tighten your hands and then open them, or close your eyes and then open them, just a small gesture of opening to let the blessings come. So this first bell is for you. And the second is for all of your loved ones. And the third is for our aching, beautiful world.
You who are with us remotely, welcome. We invite you to get a chalice or a candle of any kind as we light our common chalice here in the meeting house. The idea of the flaming chalice as a symbol of Unitarian Universalism grew out of the Unitarian Service Committee during World War II. It was a symbol of trust and courage, of supporting each other through resistance to oppression and tyranny. So our very own Department of the Interior, Carolyn Francisco, Owen Schumann, and Deborah Warwick will light our chalice this morning.
We have our visual aids too.
Good morning. I'm Carolyn Francisco. Officially, we are the Furnishings and Decor Committee. Unofficially, we are the DOI, Department of the Interior, or Deborah, Owen, and I. We take care of the furnishings and decoration within the church building and in the parish house, and share a common dislike of clutter. During the pandemic, when no one was in the building, we were looking for a way to stay connected and took on a project to create art for the walls of the vestry. Aaliyah wanted the works to represent who we are as a community and the fundamental UU sources and principles. Brainstorming over Zoom, we struck upon the idea of creating 3 pieces representing our mission, that we are a community seeking to 1, deepen spiritually, 2, take care of one another, and 3, be a blessing to the world.
So we found a wonderful artist named Meryl Como. Meryl is a fabric artist, and we worked with her. While we worked with her, we discovered she's also a Unitarian Universalist in Concord, and that was just kismet. She often works with groups of people to develop ideas to turn ideas into art. Meryl's approach builds communities by creating meaningful experiences that help people feel more connected to those ideas, the art, and each other. So we got a grant from the Church's Endowment Fund. We enlisted Meryl to help, not to create the art, but to coach us through the process of creating it ourselves. So last fall, we all had on our masks, we met in the vestry, we opened all the windows, and we actually had a workshop together with heads of different community members of our church. We played with fabric, and we learned ways to share ideas of our 3 chosen themes and think about how we represent them in color and texture and shapes to bring our community back together with fresh ideas of who we are. So many participants, including me, don't consider themselves artists, but it was wonderful to get together and to see people say, I know about seeking spiritually, maybe we will do this. we came up with a lot of different images that you'll see later and will be incorporated. We all had important ideas that contributed to the mandalas we created together that day. We also ran a mini workshop for the youth to gather their ideas, and we've used all that emerged from these sessions as a launch pad for refining each of the 3 pieces of art. So we slowly work our way through the process, and this will be a multi-year process of designing, planning, and gathering materials, and building fabric art pieces. We're integrating elements that involve everyone in our community, all of you. So this is where our appeal comes in. The pieces are not only for the community, but of the community.
One of the thematic elements that we're weaving in is that of a braid. Our vision is that the braid should be made up of fabric pieces donated by the community. Not just any fabric lying around, but something with meaning, such as a fabric from a baby blanket or a loved one's shirt or a tie. We want the braid to represent a dish towel. We want the braid to represent the entwining of our hearts, and hope that you will choose to participate. For the next month, we'll be collecting your fabric. We have 2 collection baskets, this one and another. One will be here in the sanctuary, one will be in the parish house, and that's where we'd like you to place your fabric. You can attach a note that describes its significance if you'd like. We will be creating an archive of those significances, if you will, if you want to participate. Otherwise, you can just put your fabric in. Donate as many pieces as you want. Your fabric should be a maximum of 12 inches by 36, and of any material aside from heavyweight fabrics such as upholstery. Please see the insert in your order of service for a reminder of the details of the fabric contributions we're looking for. We joyfully look forward to integrating all your fabrics together into our first parish braid and light the chalice today in appreciation for the strong community we continue to foster in this sacred place.
I heard you are here. Would you like to come up and light our peace candle? Ooh, there we go. Every Sunday morning we light a peace candle to remind us that Ukraine is still at war, as are Myanmar and Libya and Syria and other places. Vietnamese Buddhist monk and peace activist Thich Nhat Hanh taught us that if we look deeply into the weapons of war, we see our own prejudices, fears, and ignorance, and that to work for peace is to uproot war from our own hearts. Thank you, Michael. So we light our peace candle to reaffirm our commitment to work for peace together. Please join Jan and our intrepid Minister of Music, Sean McCann, in singing Carolyn McDade's song, Spirit of Life, first in Spanish, translated by Reverend Lilia Cuervo, and then, and Irvin Barrios, and then in English. Thank you. You can stay seated for this.
Oh,
to invite the children to come forward for a story. We need all of you.
We told them mostly to stay home because of the
Because of the
norovirus, so.
stomach,
Let's see,
terrible
Michael and
stomach.
Zoe are gonna hold the fort.
Yes,
And
you are
Rebecca.
representing all the children, and I'm so glad you are healthy. Hi, come on up. Oh, yay. Tell us your names.
What's your name?
What's your name?
Miles.
Hi, Miles.
And I'm Noah.
Hi, Noah. I am so glad you're here today, and I'm so glad you're not throwing up. Yes. Mama says we are too.
Oh, I remember that.
Oh, yes. Okay, Emma's going to hold our story. So today's story is about helping each other be brave. If you were here last week, you might remember that we talked about that, and we wrote down our names on yellow ribbons and gave them to each other so we could remember to send courage to the person whose name is on the ribbon. Did any of you do that this week? I did too. Lee put their ribbon on their espresso machine over in the parish house, which is used often. So we remember to send courage every time you need coffee. Okay, today's story is called Brave Enough for Two by Jonathan D. Moss. Hoot was Olive's very best friend in the whole wide world. But as you know, best friends don't always like the same things. Take, for example, adventure. Olive preferred the kind of adventure found in books. Hoot, on the other hand, well, Hoot preferred something a little different. One day, Hoot said,
I've made something very special for you. It could be a small bit scary and a slightly bigger bit adventurous.
"You know I don't like adventures," said Olive. "I'm not brave like you."
Don't worry, I will be brave enough for both of us.
Hoot showed Olive a big laundry basket tied to about 30 rainbow-colored balloons. Said Olive. "That is very nice, but does it go very, very high?"
A little, said Hoot, climbing into the basket. But, not too high. Olive followed after.
Up they rose over the rooftops and treetops till the ground looked like a giant patchwork quilt passing beneath them. And Hoot said, "What do you think?" "I think this is what it's like to be a cloud," said Olive, "but we've gone way more than just a little bit high." Just then a drop of water landed on her nose. The cloud darkened, the thunder cracked with a flash of light, and giant drops poured from the sky, and the wind swirled and the basket rocked. "What if the wind blows us far away and we get lost?" Olive cried.
Hoot squeezed Olive's hand tight. "We can never be lost, Olive, as long as I'm here and you're there, and here and there aren't very far apart."
All of a sudden, the sun poked through the clouds and the wind calmed.
Look, a rainbow! Olive smiled.
Hoot untied the balloons, one by one. Lower and lower, the basket dropped till it scraped the ground and toppled over, and the pair rolled out head over bottom into a patch of grass. "We made it," said Olive in a surprised sort of way. "What should we do now?"
Of course we made it. So now, I have another idea. I'm gonna push that basket into the river.
I've never been in a boat before, said Olive.
Great, it'll be the first time for both of us.
Will we go fast?
Just a little, said Hoot, tying Olive's scarf to the new ship's mast.
Why do you think we're crackling like that?
Why are we crackling, Sean?
Yeah, I don't know why we're crackling, but I hear it, and I'll work on it.
We hear it. This is the first day with the brand new mic.
Yeah, I'll turn it off and back on. Okay.
Where are we?
Maybe just a little.
You just tied the scarf to the mast.
I've just tied the scarf to the mast.
Okay. The boat bobbed and spun like a carnival ride. What do you think? I think we're going faster than just a little, said Olive. Down the river they sped until it became a bubbling cauldron of rocks and waves. We're going way too fast, cried Olive over the rushing water.
Hoot paddled and paddled. Don't be afraid, Olive. I'll keep you safe.
And Hoot did. But when they landed on the shore, Hoot stood silent. What's the matter? Asked Olive.
Hoot picked up a big piece of stuffing from the ground. I'm not feeling all that well, Hoot said. So Hoot is a stuffed animal, for those of you who can't see the pictures.
That's right. Olive paused, but just for a second. Don't worry, Hoot. I'll lead the way home. I'll be brave enough for both of us.
Hoot followed Olive's every step. It'll be dark soon, Hoot said. If it gets dark, we might get lost.
Hoot, Olive said kindly, taking hold of Hoot's paw. So long as I'm here, and you're there, and here, and there, aren't very far apart, we can never be lost. Just as the sun began to set, a familiar sight appeared. Home, said the two friends together. That night, Hoot got a patch. For bravery, said Olive. And tomorrow, how about I choose the adventure?
I was afraid today, Olive, when my stuffing fell out and my mic started crackling. But you were brave and you kept me safe.
We'll keep each other safe, Olive said, and so they did. The end. I know, that was a good one. Okay, we are going to sing the children downstairs for games and arts and crafts with Jackie and Amy. Jackie, will you come up and bring our little chalice to go downstairs to remind us that we are all one community. So let's sing the Children to Religious Education.
Oh yeah, we decided we weren't going to do that.
Oh, yeah.
May your mind be open to new learning. May your lips bring truth into the world. May your heart come alive to the work of justice as you go your way in peace. As you go your way in peace.
Our sung prayer this morning is on your insert, Call Down a Blessing. So Jan will read that for us. Thank you. Just stay right there.
I know how to get this into this.
Just pop it in.
Just pop it in?
Yeah, that one.
Thank you.
Yeah. Call down a
Beloveds, many of us are here today, filled with the bittersweet ache of how beautifully summer dies and how gently autumn leaves show us how to age with grace. Maybe your prayer today is that somehow, love and hope together can deliver us from fear. Maybe these days it's like you have your own personal fog machine, and the grief catches in your throat and zaps your energy and fills you with an inexplicable, dull weirdness. Or maybe you're deeply, deeply paralyzed in worry about someone you love so dearly. Maybe it took everything you had to get up and come here today. Or maybe you're here this time with enough extra that you can offer kindness, that you can light a candle and hold open for others a space in which there lives the very real possibility that the way things are now are not the way things have to be always. However you are, however we are collectively, let's breathe for a moment and just accept us as is. Present condition without modification or repair. Us as is with no clear instructions. Scared, courageous, tender, together. We send our prayers and our love this morning to Morningstar and to Vigo, to our bookkeeper, Marianne, whose mother died October 10th. And we send love and support to Helen A., who has an upcoming surgery, which is both a relief because she finally has an accurate diagnosis and has a path toward healing, and a challenge because surgery always requires courage. So together, let's hold the us in prayer to whatever is beyond us, in love that is here, that is palpable. We encourage each other's capacities and gifts here. We grow into our ability to meet this moment in each of our lives, to meet this moment in the life of the world, to meet it all with our highest humanity. So in the silence and in the spacious grace of this gathered body, we hold the space for the meditations of each of our hearts.
Our generosity sustains this congregation and allows us to deepen spiritually, to take care of one another, and to be a blessing to this world. We couldn't do it without all of us. Right now, we are in the midst of fundraising to support our children and youth in religious education, and our hope and our very real need is to raise $1,000 per kid in our program, for a total of $20,000. Not everyone can give to everything, and you have to believe me when I tell you that is truly okay. But I invite you to contribute what you can. The morning offering will now be given and gratefully received.
Those of us who were here last week left with a yellow ribbon. I was going to bring one and I forgot it this morning, with someone's name on it. And we were asked to send courage to that person all week. I had somebody stop me this morning and say, were we supposed to bring him back? I've been sending courage to my person all week, and I almost cried. It made my heart sing all week to send courage to Marge Kimpton every time I made espresso. Delicious. One of the first and most important things I learned when I came here is that part of our job, serving as your ministers, is to tell the congregation the story of itself. Sometimes that's the story of your long-term history, in particular here since 1655, and also in relationship with Unitarian Universalist history. Sometimes it's the story of where we can sense your hope lies, what your particular strengths are, where we sense your next growing edge might be. Sometimes it's stories of how what you continue to create here has supported individuals in their growth. Last week, we asked the good people gathered here to share brief written reflections on courage. It was like receiving 96 beautiful glimpses into your brave hearts. You sharing your struggles brought the two of us closer to you. It was such a sweet paradox of humanity displayed. This strong tendency we have to love and to open to others' vulnerability, to be drawn to it, to be attracted to it, to feel how it causes our love to open and show up, and at the same time to struggle with our own vulnerability, to struggle with showing it. Aaliyah and I were bolstered and lifted and filled with love all week for you, for our shared humanity. We carried your words like talismans, like magical, sparkly charms, and it lifted our spirits and our courage in a week that kind of needed it. So it's a delight to center your words and wisdom this morning. There were two overarching main themes to your messages. First of all, you demonstrated how deeply you understand that courage is hard, that it requires vulnerability, that it involves risk and uncertainty and emotional exposure, and that vulnerability is the opposite of weakness. And in that way, not surprisingly, but you are quite countercultural. I'm going to quote yourselves to yourselves now for a little while. Courage is feeling I'm not good enough and doing it anyway. It takes courage to put my feet on the floor and get out of bed in the morning. Courage is leaning into uncomfortable feelings. Courage is asking for help when working on recovery for mental health, when living with various health challenges. Courage is about getting back up again after the cut and again and again. You told us you're needing courage to grow older, to face your mortality, to be honest about your feelings, to have difficult conversations, to visit your family, to accept the silence and loneliness in your primary relationship, to leave your job, to change careers, to leave your relationship. You told us it takes courage, and you need courage right now to ask people to use your pronouns, to come forward and light a candle of joy or concern. You told us courage is facing my depression. Courage is keeping on moving when grief paralyzes you. Courage is to continue getting up in the morning, to continue on this path of life. First theme. Second theme, courage is connected with your values. Courage is connected with your values and with acting on your highest values. You told us courage is doing what's right even when it's hard, even when it involves sacrifices. Courage is being part of something bigger than oneself. Courage is pushing through fear, reluctance, apathy, to act in a way that's meaningful and beneficial to myself and to others. Courage is using my voice, especially when I know others might not agree. Courage is choosing to endure discomfort in order to grow stronger and help others. You told us the reward for courage is often a better life for other people. You told us you're needing courage to find your true voice, not just to please and comfort other people, but to be you and speak up for yourself. You told us I'm needing courage to stop giving to others long enough to take a breath for myself. I'm needing courage to live into my full potential, you said. Courage is creating habits for self-love which give us more for giving to others. You said courage is to speak truth as you experience it, and not to let yourself or anyone else be victimized, to speak up, to resist. You told us that courage is noble, that it's often so hard, but remembering that courage is for others, that courage warms the world with love, makes it a little bit easier to take that first step, to take that first breath, to believe I can do this. You said, I am needing courage to remember that my presence matters, always. And finally, you told us that courage is holding space for all parts of yourself and being able to love them, even when the world around you doesn't.
This is Karen Herring's poem called Where the Maps End. When we come to the edge of our knowing and the journey is not yet over and the road we've been on disappears, remember, it is only the map, not the world, that has ended. Frontier, wilderness, terra incognita. These two stop short of where we are going, the truncated vocabulary of cartography and conquest, remnants of flat world thinking. You don't need to believe in dragons to fear fire-mouthed beasts dwelling at the edge of the mapped world we have known. Perhaps it is not maps we need now, but relationship. Yes, here at the end, at the edge of our knowing, let us set down our maps and call in the poets. Call up the poet within us all to pick up the endings, remake them, rearrange them in bold new pairings and unexpected line breaks. Now we recall, though the road we are on has ended, this round world and the gravity that draws us to it know no bounds. Trusting this, we begin again. setting our pens to the open page, encountering unknown ground, befriending the dragons that call it home. So one of the best books I read during the pandemic was a book by a well-known congregational consultant and coach named Susan Beaumont. I don't read these kind of church coaching books very often because I find them exhausting, to be honest. But I love the title of this one so much that I think I told you about it before I'd even read it. It's called How to Lead When You Don't Know Where You're Going. The author wrote it specifically for congregations going through a time of transition, for those times in every congregation's history when they are in between things, when there's been some kind of important ending but the way forward isn't yet clear, the new beginning hasn't yet started. Beaumont calls this in-between time liminal time. Now, I doubt she could have imagined that the entire world would be stuck in liminal time for 2.5 years. Not just the churches, but all of us. It turned out to be a great time to read her book. Pandemic time was unique because we were all in this liminal season together. But of course, we find ourselves at the edges of our own maps, at the end of our own knowing, not just once, but over and over again in the course of our lives. We find ourselves there because important relationships begin and end, divorce happens, loved ones die, children leave home and then come back home again in their own liminal seasons. We change jobs and careers, we find new love, we get sick, and we didn't plan any of it. And courage is required not just once, but over and over. And your beautiful words reminded Lee and me all week as we carried them just how much you know about the kind of courage that being human asks of us. Susan Beaumont writes about how a lot of us have learned that courage is about action, that courage is about forging ahead, and sometimes it is. Sometimes courage is in speaking the words that we know must be spoken and telling that truth we know has to be told and taking the step even though we are scared. But courage is also in the waiting. Courage is also feeling the fear and uncertainty and vulnerability of that place of not knowing. Beaumont talks about practicing a kind of courage that she simply calls presence. And presence is hard to describe, but it's something about showing up to the moment, putting down the map, admitting that we don't know where we are, much less where we are going, and also being open somehow to what is. Presence is the willingness to turn away from certainty and to turn instead toward wonder, to turn toward curiosity and toward a kind of trust. Not that everything will turn out okay, but that we will be okay. I managed to lose the last page of the sermon. I love when I do. There's a word in Hebrew I have talked to you about before. It's the word hineni. And I love this word so much. In Hebrew, hineni means here I am. It is a powerful word. In fact, it is so powerful that it is used sparingly throughout the Hebrew Bible. Mostly when God calls upon someone to do something seemingly impossible. So when God asks Moses to free the Israelites from slavery in Egypt, at first Moses refuses and hides from God. And finally, Moses answers, Hineni, here I am. It is the same when God calls out to Abraham, and one of the most painful and difficult stories in the Hebrew Bible asks Abraham if Abraham is willing to sacrifice his beloved son Isaac. Abraham answers, here I am. The Hineni is also the name of a prayer sung at the Jewish New Year, which we have just passed, in which the song leader sings before the congregation, here I am. I'm not ready. I'm going to fall short. I am full of fear and failings, but here I am. I will pray on behalf of this gathered people. Hineni is a sense of presence, a commitment even in the midst of fear or grief. Here I am. I have shown up, even though I highly doubt I have what is needed for this moment, for this challenge. Here I am. I am open. I am willing. I will not run away from what this moment asks of me, even if I am afraid. Here I am. In the Hebrew scripture, it is usually God who is the one searching, God who is the one asking, where are you? But we can ask that of ourselves too, and we can ask each other, where are you? Are you lost? Are you in hiding? And if you are, how can I help you come out and get found? Can we be present to all of the sadness and grief and uncertainty of this life, so we can also be present to the joy and the hope and the unexpected goodness and sweetness? For the last 2.5 years, I confess I kept hoping an instruction book would show up in the mail. Something titled, How to Get Your Congregation, Your Community, Your Family, and Yourself Through a Worldwide Pandemic in 6 Easy Steps, something like that. I kept having to learn over and over that we already had the instructions, and we still do. Practicing presence, turning toward wonder and curiosity, growing our own capacity to wait and to trust. And we already have our teachers, because here we are. As Lee said, one of the most important things ministers do is to tell the congregation the stories of itself, the stories of who we are and what we know and how we are together. And another thing that ministers get to do is a kind of matchmaking, when we ask you to tell each other your stories, because we know there is someone who needs exactly the kind of wisdom you have already found. Or there is someone traveling in the very specific kind of wilderness you have already found your way through and could use some company on the road. Not advice or directions, but company. From someone who has been at that same edge of the map and found some new ground. Many of you have received these phone calls and emails over the years saying, could you just reach out to so-and-so whose kid is struggling, or who just got some bad health news, or whose spouse has died? Could you just tell them how you lived through it? And in 22 years of doing this, I have never had a single person say no. On one of your cards about courage last week, one of you wrote a blessing. It said simply, take courage, dear heart. You can do this. To which I would just add, we will help each other to be brave. So will you stand as you are able, and we'll sing together our closing hymn, which is Life Calls Us on the back of your song sheet, and Jan will lead us.
courageous, beautiful people.
It was beautiful.
For some of us, this was a tender service. Take care of your hearts. And we'll invite you to comfort your own heart with one hand over it, and to comfort each other's by reaching out. And as you are able, looking around and remembering that we are connected, that we are woven together across time and space and screens, across aisles, between bodies, with strong and sturdy threads of love and courage and hope.
Go in peace. You be a blessing to this place.